So for anything else, guys, thank you for jumping on the call, guys. Okay, and my goal today is to do just two parts. Keep it really simple. We're going to be talking about an innovative technology that's coming in from the Scandinavian marketplace that's really cutting edge when it comes to Cheers Lindeberg. By the way, cutting edge technology that's coming into the global European marketplace that's unlike anything I've ever seen before. And the second part, we're going to be talking about how a NASDAQ-based company, test-based nutrition company, is expanding into the global marketplace. And we're looking for some partners to help us expand the business. And for the real players, we're offering an equity seat at the table. Anyone interested in owning a piece of $1 billion company, we'll be having a conversation with that. So get a chance a little bit know each other, guys. As John said, yeah, I do have a direct sales background. Before that, very humble beginnings, guys. I'm from Montreal, Canada originally, so I'm the Canadian on the call. And very simply did university. And when I finished school, wasn't really sure what to do. And youngsters might relate to that conversation. And ended up waitering and bartending. Okay, just because it paid more, and did that for a number of years. And then I got introduced to the direct sales space. And to be very, very upfront with you guys, that was for me life changing. It gave me a chance to see a way I could start a business part time without giving up what I was doing. I think we can agree that multiple income streams make sense. I think we can agree with that. And I saw it a way of just starting a little part-time business without giving up my career. And within a short period of time, I was very blessed to figure this thing out. Had some great and wonderful mentors. Some of you know one of my mentors, Mr. Art Napolitano, and I was able to leave my restaurant waitering job. And then basically was blessed to build a massive global business. And I lived off of a residual income for almost 17 years. Okay, so when it talks about why they asked me to do these, they figured out if a broke punk waiter from Canada could build a $500 million online business, my job is to give you hope that this could be potentially possible. I ended up leaving my previous company and we parted ways and we had a bit of a settlement offer. We went our separate ways and I've been focusing on, I had a bit of a philosophy change where that other company, I worked really hard with them, but I never was offered a seat at the table. Can anyone relate to that? When you do $500 million in sales, do you think I deserve a little something, for doing that? And I never was able to receive that. And so I made a decision to exit the direct sales space just because if I don't own it and I have a chance to own it, I don't want to do it. Okay. And I've been focusing on building my traditional insurance brokerage. My partner and I'm a partner in two different brokerages. We're very blessed. The two combined brokerages last year did about $115 million in sales. And that's where I've been. Okay. Then I was called to take a look. Just so you guys know, I've been approached by a lot of direct sales companies. When you do well, they try to recruit you. I do not say this to be a show off, but just to preface where I'm coming from. Okay. Four companies offered me $500,000 signing bonus. You sign, we give you $500,000 for signing up. Okay. I'll be blunt. My last name is Goldberg. I like $500,000, but if I don't believe in the concept, I couldn't do it. I asked myself before I took the deal, I said, would I actually join this company if they didn't pay me? And the answer was heck no. How could I look at any of you in the eyes and say, guys, I got this great company that I really think is terrible, but they're giving me $500,000 to sign up. You should sign up. You get nothing, but let's do it. Couldn't do it. So I exited the direct sales space and I've been focused on my insurance business. And then I was asked to look at Zinzino 2 years ago. I originally turned it down. Okay. Would you guys agree it's also a weird name? Zinzino, kind of a strange name. I think we can agree. Knowing now what it means something small that has massive impact. Okay. And what made me transition a year later to take a look at this is I'm into health and wellness, a little personal. I'm 54. My wife is 33. So if you're telling me there's a way to be younger, healthier, and more vibrant, I like to know how. And I do a bunch of stuff, guys. I'm on hormone replacement optimization. I do blood work every 3 or 4 months. So when Artie said to me, he said, Nathan, if there was a little blood test that you could take that could predict the future of your health, talk about relationships to inflammation in the body, your cell health, and how fast you're aging, would you be open? I'm like, what do you got? Okay. Took a look at the biomarker blood testing and made a decision to do my due diligence with it. I actually called my doctor in Toronto. I live in Toronto, Canada, by the way, now that's where I'm making the call. And asked my doctor, can you research this? And he's like, Nathan, I did some looking. It's an 11 essential fatty acids biomarker test. And I go, well, I want to see if the test is for real. Can anyone relate to that? Is the test real or is it cook the books? Right. So I told my doctor, get me this test done, get me a requisition form. He came back about a week later and he goes, I have no clue where to do that. Okay. But I know where to do one of the tests called the omega-3 index that's in the testing scores. And I'm like, well, order that that test for me. And I went to do the test with my doctor and the Zinzino test the same day just to kind of see if there was a correlation to the real numbers. And the numbers came back identical. That was the first kind of belief level, like, okay, that's kind of interesting. And then I got my blood work back and I was shocked. Okay. And I'll kind of preface what those numbers are in just a minute. That made me decide to literally just get on the protocol, test out the products on myself, and had massive, massive results. Tested out a bunch of my family members, mother, family, and stuff. All my family came back high risk. Just to preface it, both my grandparents passed away from heart attacks. Okay. So our family has that in its background. And one of the results on the test shocked me from my doctor, not from Zinzino, but the doctor, when I could say more, I guess, aggressive things because it's ordered by a doctor. It said that because I had an omega 3 index under 4%, I had an 80% higher chance of having a heart attack. And that freaked me out. I'm just being very upfront. I was very mad at my doctor. I was furious. Dr. Mike, I want to heal you. I see you every 3 months. Why the heck have we never ordered these biomarker tests? And he goes, I never heard of this before, Nathan. Before you asked me to call this, I never even heard of this in any way. Because I did three days of research and study in my entire doctoral to get my doctor's degree on nutritional supplement stuff. I only had 3 days, so he didn't know anything about it. So fast forward, ended up seeing the benefits on the protocol, and then I made a decision to take a look at this as a business. And I've started doing this part-time because I think everyone needs to know about this. So even if you're here just to hear about health and wellness, you're in the right place. You'll be very happy you were brought here to share this information. And then if you got a bit of an entrepreneurial bug in you, I'll talk about why I truly believe this is the best opportunity I've ever seen for someone that's just like regular type people that could capitalize on one of the largest transfers of wealth. And there's an equity play that you can own a piece of $1 billion giant. Okay, so let me share my screen and let's get rocking and rolling here, guys. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, let's get going, guys. Okay, so very simple, guys. I think we can agree. We all want to feel better. We all want to look younger. We want to be healthier. Okay, John, you see my screen, by the way? You want to see the PowerPoint? Yeah, thank you, guys. Okay. In Socrates, Socrates said something very, very famous. I think we've all heard. Let your food be your medicine, and let your medicine be your food. And because you are what you eat, right, guys? Okay. But the problem is a lot of us eat a bunch of junk. Okay. And here's reality: the food supply has changed. Would you agree? We used to eat God-made food. Okay, free-ranging animals, eating grass, eating bugs, eating traditional things. Well, you think our meats are grown like that now? No, they're grown in cages and farms and stuff, and they fed soy pellets and corn pellets, and even organic ones, by the way, do the same thing. And then unfortunately, things have become more of a man-made. This happened mostly in the 1960s, by the way, the Industrial Food Revolution, and that's where seed oils were implemented in our food supply. A lot of stuff. I always tell people, if there's a barcode on your food, may not be the best thing best thing for you. Okay, guys. And this has created a massive global health crisis that a lot of people are not aware of. And just to be upfront, most doctors are not aware of this because I talk to doctors on a regular basis. Okay, so let me give you kind of little story here that I learned. And obviously I wasn't a doctor, so I did a deep dive in understanding this. So let me give you a little breakdown. Our bodies are made up of trillions of cells. Okay, and if your cells are healthy, you're healthy. If your cells aren't healthy, we got some challenges going on, okay? And your cells need nutrients, and there's two specifics that we're going to talk about today. They're called essential fatty acids, and they're why they called essential. If you don't have it, long term, you die, okay? So let's keep it pretty simple. And they're the two major essential fatty acids. We have something called an omega-3, right? I think we all have heard of that conversation before. And we have something called an omega-6. I had not really heard of that before previous to looking into this, but here, let me give you a simple explanation. Omega-6s are essential fatty acids. You have to have it. Your body can't produce it. You can only get it from eating or supplementing with it, but it creates a pro-inflammatory response in your body. So it tells your cells, let's create some inflammation. Let me get a correlation to this. You guys ever sprain your arm or get hurt and it swells up? That's the inflammation response. Okay. In a simple non-medical explanation, the fire is set to fight the battle. In a simple explanation. Okay. On the other hand, we have an omega-3. It's an essential fatty acid. Your body can't produce it. You can only get it from supplementing or eating it, but it creates mostly an anti-inflammatory response. It basically is designed to put out the fire. Does that basic premise make sense? Okay. And all of our bodies, if you did a DNA test, we're all coded to have a 1-to-1 ratio, one part omega-6 to one part omega-3. So there's imbalance. Well, based on our food supply, did you know that the global numbers today are over 25-to-1? Where they're supposed to be 1-to-1. Okay. So I just give you an example of what I mean by this. Okay. Who's eaten in a restaurant in the last 30 days? Anybody? Okay, it's now because of you doing so, you probably are going to fail the test. I'll tell you why. Okay, has anyone since we're talking with the UK, anyone eat any chips in the last month? Okay, if you're wondering, one potato chip or one French fry, we say in Canada, is 44 to 1 omega 6 to 3 ratio. One chip. Okay, one cookie. Any chicken eaters? Okay. I was surprised by this. You know that the average chicken is 15 to 1 omega 6 to 3 ratio? You say, why? Well, because the chickens are fed corn and soy, even if it's organic. Organic soy, organic corn is omega 6 ridden. Okay. Do you agree that almost every restaurant uses vegetable oils, right? When they cook and they fry things, that's all omega 6s. So we need omega 6s, but the problem is we're all ingesting over 25 times too much omega 6s, and that's tipping the scale in a pro-inflammatory state. Okay. This is, by the way, 97% of the world's population fits into this category. How do we know this? Well, Zinzino, in partnership with one of the most reputable labs in the world by the name of Vitas Analytics, produced the largest peer-reviewed study ever done on the omega 6 to 3s. They have the largest database in history. You can look it up on PubMed. It's published and documented. And very simply, they said that the world, 97% are massively out of balance and have excess inflammation. Let me ask some of the guests a question. Who's ever heard that inflammation is the cause of most degenerative diseases? Anyone ever heard that before? Okay. If you haven't, do some research. And here's some homework for you. You guys ready for some homework? Okay. Write this down, or after John, put it in the chat for me if you don't mind, or somebody to help me out. I want you to go on to ChatGPT or Google or any research tool and type in importance of omega 6 to 3 ratio. Importance of omega 6 to 3 ratio. Number two, I'd like you to look up is importance of omega 3 index. Importance of omega 3 index. So I'll keep it really simple. The omega 6 to 3 ratio is how much inflammation versus anti-inflammation based on your ratios of omega 6 to 3 ratio. And the omega 3 index is very simple. What percentage of omega 3s are in your red blood cell? If you're taking notes, you're supposed to be between 8 and 12% for optimal levels, where 90% of the population are under 4%, by the way. Okay, so there's a little preface behind this. Okay, now if you're out of balance, what does it do? First challenge is in your brain, guys. You know that 60% of your brain is made out of fat? And out of that, it's supposed to have 25% of your brain fat supposed to be omega 3s. Well, most people are massively deficient, and that causes challenges. Do we know anyone that has brain fog? You heard people that are getting dementia, people that are aging too fast, getting Parkinson's. This is a one potential reason for this. Let's go down in the body, heart disease and all sorts of blood flow through your arteries, guys. One of the biggest researches ever done on the omega 3 index states that anyone that has over 4%, under 4% omega 3 index, potentially, nothing is guaranteed, has an 80% higher correlation to having sudden death through a heart attack. Is that crazy, guys? If you hear a study like that, it's a massive study, by the way, and no one's ever heard of it. That blows my mind. Okay. Because we're always talking about cholesterol, right? Cholesterol. Guys, cholesterol is not the problem. The actual heart problem starts at the cellular level, not even at the blood level. Okay. Do you ever heard before that your gut microbiome is important? In case you didn't know, it is your second brain. All immunity goes through your gut. This is all also correlates if you have inflammation in your gut. Do we know any of us as we're getting older, guys, that have aches and pains? Okay. What do you think aches and pains are? Inflammation in the body. Okay. So that's where the conversation we're going to be discussing mostly today is about inflammation and getting rid of this challenge. Okay. So here's some basics. On the left side of my screen is just an example of a cell. So your cell is very simple. There's a cell membrane, it's a cell wall, and the majority of your cell wall is made out of fat. Okay. And if you have over a 3 to 1 ratio on the omega 6 to 3 ratio, now, sorry, I didn't preface this. So ideally, we're supposed to have a 1 to 1 ratio. Does that make sense? But in today's modern diet, it's almost impossible. Okay. It's very, very, very difficult. So this medical society says today a 3 to 1 or better, 3 or 1 or lower ratio is at least in the right realm. Okay. But if you have more than a 3 to 1, what does that happen? What's going on? Well, besides creating an inflammatory response, it makes your cell wall hard. And nutrients have a hard time getting in. Stuff like what? Vitamins, minerals, oxygen, hormones. Do we know any ladies that have challenges when it comes to menopause? Well, if your cells aren't absorbing hormones like they're supposed to, causes challenges. Do we know any men that their testosterone level has dropped too much? Okay, I won't say anything too politically incorrect. We can tell just by looking in society that testosterone has dropped. If your cells aren't absorbing the nutrients, the testosterone, thus challenges. But when you get the cell membrane back into balance and having your lipid panel the way it's supposed to be, your cell is happy. Good things are coming in, waste products are getting out, your cells are communicating, and it's allowing the body to heal like it's supposed to do. Okay. So the question today is, are you in the danger zone? Okay. And the reality is, we don't know. The only way of actually knowing, and the first thing is, of course, we're talking about the ratios of the omega-6 to ratio, but the second thing that we're going to talk about is vitamin D levels in your blood. Okay. I'm from Canada, guys. Over 80% of all Canadians are vitamin D deficient. And vitamin D is crucial for your health, metabolism, your bone, etc. Okay. So how do you know? So this very simple Zinzino's concept is this, okay? Anyone ever taken any kind of supplementation before? Vitamins, minerals, supplements? I think we all have at some point. Would you agree? Okay. How do you know if they're working? How do you know if they're good for you? How do you know if they're toxic? How do you know if you should be taking them? Well, our philosophy is don't take any supplementation until we do blood work. Okay. Start testing. Let's see what your body's at, and let's do a customizable plan for each individual. Okay. The first test we always start is called the balance test. Okay. This is very simply seeing what your cells are, what situation they're in, and what the inflammation markers are at. We also have a gut microbiome test. This is really cutting edge, by the way. Zinzino spent 13 years in research and development, and it's the most unique gut health test product out there. Very simple. If you want to do a gut microbiome test now, you'd have to send in a piece of a feces in, and they would analyze the feces and tell you what gut microbiomes are present in your body, but it doesn't tell how it interacts in your body. Our gut health test is so innovative. It'll tell you if you're turning your food into fuel or if you're turning it into inflammation with protocols to help move the needle in those tests. We also do a vitamin D test, and we also have what's called an HbA1c test. It's a blood sugar test, by the way, but not like when a diabetic, diabetics take the blood test. It's not the same thing. That just tells you the blood test when the diabetic takes what's present. This does over the last 4 months, what's your diet showing you? Are you predetermined towards being a pre-diabetic or not? And I think it's better the earlier you know, the more you can take precautions, because secret of health is preventative. Would that make sense? I don't want to go see the doctor. I want to avoid the doctor if I can. And remember this, you are the CEO of your own health. Okay? Very simple on that. So I'll give you the process here, guys. Very simple. You can take a test. I took it from the comfort of my home. Okay? Took me 1 minute. Put it in an envelope. Put it in the mailbox. It got sent off to Vitas Analytics. It's our partner. They're a totally independent lab, nothing to do with Zinzino. A GMP certified, one of the most reputable labs in all of Europe. They've done over 4 million what's called dry blood spot tests. It was started originally by the Norwegian University for the Olympics to test the athletes, by the way. And they do such prestigious blood work for places like Harvard University, Oxford, Cambridge, Max Planck Institute, London School of Medicine. I could go on and on and on. I talk to the people that are doctors, and I need credibility, guys. They've published over 400 peer-reviewed studies through this lab. This is the cream of the crop, and that's why we've decided to send our blood work to them. Okay? So here's what I can tell you. Today, Zinzino and Vitas, we got to update the slide, John. We're almost at 1.9 million people tested. That blew my mind when I did my due diligence here. It's the largest database out of any company when it comes to these omega ratios anywhere out there. And you can see what it is, guys. I'm from Canada, right? 99% of everyone in North America is high risk. 99%. Okay. We all know Americans eat worse than Canadians, by the way. Okay. And in Europeans, you guys are a little better. So congrats. My friends in Sweden, you guys are better. You guys eat some of the nice fish and stuff like that and understand omega-3s, but still 95% everyone in Europe is also fails the test and is high risk. So pretty simple on that. Okay. So the question here for you is today, would it make sense to get tested and know what's going on in your body? Okay. What I thought was pretty unique, I've never seen this before. You could take the test, and I have skeptics. So it's normal to be skeptical because I was skeptical. Okay. I'll give you some real examples here. Now that I'm involved with the business, I've personally blood tested 23 natural doctors in the last 4 months. And they're always the same conversation. Nathan, I already take the best supplementation in the world. I already eat fish every day. I take omega-3 products. I do not need what you're talking about. Like, let's see. Let's take a test. Well, if you take the test and you pass the test, we give you 100% refund. Is that crazy? So we're not trying to sell you anything. We want to help you identify health markers, okay? If you pass the test, you get a 100% refund. So what's the risk? Nothing. But if you fail the test and potentially you have challenges down the road like inflammation, heart disease potential, diabetes and stuff, would it make sense to do as much as you can to identify and then create a protocol to prevent that? That's what a simple conversation that I saw and why I became a customer, okay? Very simple on that, okay? What's interesting is Zinzino has proven that they can get people back into balance within only 4 months. So even though I had horrible markers, I'll give you my numbers if you want to know what they are. My numbers came back. I was 29 to 1 on the omega 63 ratio, so almost 1,000% over the markers. Okay. My omega 3 index was 2.3. Horrible, by the way. Horrible. Okay. So I got on the protocol. The protocol is called balance oil. I'll show it to you in just a minute. And very simple. After 4 months, I got a second blood test. Zinzino is so confident they'll send you a second biomarker blood test that's worth almost $200 for you to test yourself to see the efficacy of the protocol. Okay. Well, what happens is your blood cells turn over within 4 months, right? That's the 120 days. They've checked this out. They're about to bring out another massively peer-reviewed study. It's in the midst of being it's finalized in reviews by different universities. They can show you that 95% of everyone that got on their protocol for 4 months got back into balance within 4 months. Isn't that unbelievable? Guys, what's crazy, there's a third peer review study comparing the same blood work, same conversation with even other independent labs outside of Vetus, showing that 95% of people that take omega 3s do not get themselves back into balance with the other products that are on the marketplace, which are not effective. And I'll kind of highlight some reasons why in just a minute. Okay. Guys, our company has got the cream of the crop when it comes to our scientific board, guys. They have some of the smartest minds. What was interesting for me is Zinzino owns the manufacturing. So talk about a vertically integrated business. Okay. Just so you guys know, we actually grow a bunch of the ingredients ourselves. In the next 2 years, we'll be the largest actual producers of omega 3s in the world through algae. Okay, so when it comes to omega 3 space, we're going to dominate that space. We'll be the largest producer of the raw material in the world. Okay, let's talk about then the manufacturing. We own manufacturing. What's also crazy, Zinzino owns all the patents on the products, which we'll highlight in a minute. And Zinzino owns distribution. To me, that's a win-win in a business conversation. Okay, so what's the product? Well, 60% of the product is fish oil. Okay, very high quality, wild caught, small fish, purified fish, and 40% comes from pre-harvested olive oil. Okay, but not just olive oil. We're talking the cream of the crop, the highest polyphenol count olive oil in the world. Okay, and I get people that contest me on that. I'll make a fun bet if you ever like our premium oil in the balance oil, the RVO oil. I'll show you. We have lab testing and show you the polyphenol count blows anything out of the water that's out there. Okay. So here's what I can tell you this. Who's ever heard the Mediterranean diet? Those that follow live longer with more longevity. You've ever heard that before? Okay. What's the Mediterranean diet? Fish, olive oil, vitamin D. Our product, by the way, fish, olive oil, vitamin D. It's the Mediterranean diet in a bottle. Okay. Now, if you're wondering like me, well, how does this omega 3 thing set different from all the 9 other million omega 3 products in the world? It's not even comparable. Okay. Just so you guys know, when you take fish, you got to purify it, right? You got to get rid of the mercury, the PCPs, the microplastics. You have to distill it and get rid of it, right? That's the problem. Is when you take the fish and you clean the fish, what happens is, well, the omega 3s are actually protected in the fish by something called polyphenols. When you clean the fish, the polyphenols go bye bye. What does that mean? It means the omega 3s start oxidizing immediately, which means rotting. Okay. I'll give you a little analogy. Has anyone ever taken an omega 3 product ever and got fish burps? Remember, got that ever happened to you before? Okay. If you did, it means it's rotten. So your body's like, what the hell are you doing? Don't take this thing. Okay. Well, here's to get a look at our chart here, guys. Krill oil, which some of you guys heard of. There's some benefits because there's phospholipids in krill oil, but it oxidizes in only 5 hours, which means it goes rancid. Okay. Take a look. A concentrated omega 3 is about 9 hours. Cod liver oil, remember grandma used to make you take that nasty tasting thing? That was still the best. 15 hours. Zinzino, once you put it in your body, guys, it stays active for 35 hours in lab tests. And that's what sets it apart, guys. Our product is actually absorbed properly and it doesn't oxidize. And then there's so many added benefits of the olive oil, by the way. If you combine the olive oil and the omega 3s, it helps lower triglyceride levels. And there's a whole bunch of really amazing things that this accomplishes in the product. Okay. By the way, people always ask me, are you just taking fish oil and putting olive oil and shaking it? No. Okay. There's patents on rebonding the omega 3s to the polyphenols in the product. Okay. So this is our premier, kind of our superhero product. They're all certified, guys, halal certified. Our vegan one is kosher certified, Informed Sport. Each single product batch is tested. It is the cream of the crop. I use this product every single day. And no, it does not taste like fish. Thus, you can see why my markers were terrible. I'm not a big fish eater. Okay. Unfortunately, John, my favorite fish is fish and chips, which is not good for you. Okay. But thus why I'm on the balance oil. Okay. So just so you guys know, all of the major certification, this company is so pristine when it comes to making sure their products are the cream of the crop. Okay. This is pretty interesting. The European Union says we can legally say what you see on the screen. Okay. Look at some of the stuff, guys. Normal brain function, helps with your brain function, heart function, immune function, vision. Guys, there's so many correlations. My own mother, we got tested. My mother's 86 years old, a diabetic. We got her on the protocol. My mother has dry eye and macular degeneration. The product has made a massive, massive benefit for my mom. So impressive that my mom's eye doctor, became a partner in my business, by the way. Okay, so it's kind of neat on that. Okay, so very simple. 95% everyone that gets tested gets on our protocol. Very simple, gets back into balance, and the system's very simple. Take a test. There's a subscription called the Premier Customer in Europe and in Canada. Same concept. You get the test and a couple bottles of the oil. You get on a subscription. There's no contract. You can cancel anytime you want now. So that's pretty cool. And what happens is they ship you bottles. And after 4 months of being on the protocol, they send you a second test absolutely free. And this blew my mind, guys. I've never seen a company willing to give you 100% refund if you pass the test and give you a free test to recheck your biomarkers to show the product is working. Okay. That's what's unbelievable. I've never seen any company can prove their product works. It's always testimonials. I feel better. Okay. Now, if you're wondering now, how did I feel? So I lift weights, just so you guys know, 4 days a week, keep my muscle mass as high as possible, my bone density. Well, when you get 54, you get a little bit more joint pain. After 2 months of being on the product, all my joint pain went away. It's amazing, guys. I'm just really, that's my biggest thing that I noticed. It also helped me with my brain fog. Super, super powerful. Love that. Okay. So there's the first conversation. Our philosophy is let's test the cell membrane. Let's fix the cell membrane. When the cell membranes are fluid, it can absorb more nutrients, and we can go some other potential biomarkers. Okay. The second was the gut health test. Like I mentioned, super innovative product. Okay. And we have a protocol to actually make a difference, which we'll highlight in a minute. Okay. Our solution, by the way, for the gut health test is something called xenobiotic. Okay. Would you agree we're all not getting enough fiber? Okay. Well, not just not enough fiber. Most of us eat 2 or 3 of the same fibers on a regular basis, whether it's bread or different types of things. This is something super unique. It's a probiotic with 8 different probiotic fibers, by the way, that not only helps bring up your fiber count, helps deal with blood sugar levels, by the way, which is another really important thing, but also helps feed the actual probiotics in your gut. It's the proper nutrients to make them grow, which is pretty cool. For any bakers on the call, you can actually bake with this, by the way. Okay, so you can actually make muffins, and for my British people, you can make scones with it, and you can actually add all of your fiber and all of your prebiotics by baking with it if you like. It doesn't break it down, by the way. Okay. The next thing we have, so kind of a philosophy, right? Fix the cell membrane. That's with the test, and then the balance oil. Next step, once the cell membrane is in good place, let's deal with the gut piece because there's this gut microbiome has cell membranes in your gut. And the last piece is let's give it nutrients. I think we've all heard you're supposed to have 6 to 8 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Would you all heard that before? Did you do it today? Right? My friend Mr. Lindbergh in Sweden, you just had dinner. Did you have 8 servings of fruits and vegetables today? And by the way, corn does not count as one of the vegetables, okay? Because that's an omega-6, okay? So our whole philosophy is we have a cutting-edge life extension stack called Extend. And Extend gives you all of the essential vitamins and minerals, but all of the longevity stacks, such as sulforaphane, which is broccoli sprouts, lutein for your eyes, zeaxanthin, things like coenzyme Q10. There's even something called beta glucans that help massively boost your immune system in your body. Okay, so there's the basic major protocol. We got one last product I'll talk about. It's called Viva. This is my wife and my mom's favorite product. This is what we call the happy pill. The main ingredient in Viva, by the way, is saffron. If you're taking any notes, you write this down. It's called Affron. AFFRON is the patented nutrient in it. There's actually 7 peer-reviewed studies done on this. And what does it do? 1, improves sleep quality. You guys agree you need great sleep to recuperate. Number 2, it helps deal with stress and anxiety. Do anyone have stress and anxiety? My wife, okay? That's why we get her to take it. On top of that, it also helps with focus. I don't know if you know how many people have attention deficit disorder and so forth. She's not here right now, but one of my brokers that sits on the other side of me, guys, I gave her some of the Viva. She loves it because she's all over the place. She's so much more focused on the product, okay? And the last thing it does, I'm sorry for stating my age with this, guys, it helps lower nighttime urination and it helps with libido. I think we all like that conversation, okay? So that's the main gist of the protocols I'm discussing. We have a ton of others, but it's the main stuff that I personally take. Okay. And we call this the Health Protocol Plus. Okay. Very simple. We get you tested. We start fixing the cell membranes with the omega-3 protocol. We then deal with the gut with the xenobiotic. We help deal with the missing vitamins, minerals, and essential stacks to boost your immune system through Extend. And then Viva is your nootropic for your brain. And by the way, you can get any of these things individually. There's a promotion. You get a better deal if you take the Health Protocol Plus. So you can discuss that with the person who brought you and see kind of what's your potential fit. But here's a tip. If you live near anyone that's in Zinzino, by the way, ask them for a sample of Viva, okay? 2 capsules, okay? Do you know that 30 to 40% of everyone take 1 dose, see a difference in 1 day? 1 dose, 1 day, 1 difference. Not everybody, but 30% of the people. So, John, what I teach my people, I take the Viva, I cut them up into 4 little pills, sample, 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 sample. And all of my partners got 5 to 10 customers just doing that, just giving out the people the free samples. That's something I'd highly recommend, okay, that you guys take a look at, okay? And do some more chat GPT on the benefits of saffron. Another thing I forgot to mention, by the way, I'm a man, I should be the one talking about this, but there's major studies with saffron that help get rid of hot flashes for people that are menopausal. So you can look up that for yourself and do some research for yourself on that. Okay. Okay, let's bring this thing home, guys. We have a whole slew of other products that I won't really go into, guys, but there's amazing products this company has. I know, Fred, I saw you drinking our FICO-Sci. FICO-Sci, guys, just so you guys know, cheers. Those that don't know, guys, this is a specific molecule that comes from spirulina that is a product that's also another form of an anti-inflammatory, by the way. Okay, different type of an anti-inflammatory. It's massive for recuperation and energy. It's very, very prominent in the athletic world in terms of recovery and so forth. Okay. So let's bring this thing home. Okay. Come on, slide. There we go. We have a slew of ambassadors and Zinzino professional athletes, Olympians. What I thought was kind of unique, none of these people get paid to endorse Zinzino. Okay. None of them. Okay. We do not pay them, which is crazy. Wouldn't you guys agree here sometimes Ronaldo or all these different people are endorsing certain products? Do you think they actually use the product? No. They're given millions of dollars to put their name on it, right? These are people that want the products and requested to be branded as an ambassador because they made a difference in their sports athletic career. Okay. So Zinzino, just so you guys know, is a global company. It's been around for 20 years. Okay. It's our 21st year. The company's been around. We are offering biomarker blood testing protocols and products in 100 different countries. Now, can I be blunt with you guys? You know why I said no to the business originally? Because I was like, who the hell wants to sell fish oil? It's so unsexy. I'm so not interested in any way. But after a while, I understood that Zinzino's not in the fish oil business. We're in the biomarker blood testing business. And yes, there's an omega-3 product as a solution of one of the protocols to fix the cell membrane and the inflammation markers at the cellular level. So that's what blew my mind. I own from Toronto. I'm in Toronto now, guys. I own a global biomarker business and test-based nutrition in 100 countries. From my office, I'm working right now from my laptop. And it blows my mind, guys. I've only been doing this like 15 months part-time, super part-time, guys. Just so you can ask John this. I've only do like 1 or 2 Zooms a week. Last month, and not trying to show off, guys, I did 300,000 in sales for the month. 300,000 in sales just from a little online business. And why such big sales? Because it just works. Okay. Let's bring this thing home. Okay. So here's what intrigued me, a bit of my business hat here, guys. Oop, let's go back there. Do you guys know that 500 million people take omega-3 every day? Right now, 500 million people take omega-3s. Okay. They predict by 2050, 1 billion people will take omega-3. Here's the craziness. You know that we can prove that 95% of the people that take an omega-3 product, that the product doesn't work? Is that crazy? Think about that for a second. Do you think the 500 million people would like to know whether their products are working? All we're just doing is telling them, would you like to know if it's working? Great. Take a test. If it's working, you get your money back. You don't need what we got. If you fail the test, which 95% chance you failing the test, we can offer a solution that's proven in blood work. Okay. That's what excited me. Okay. Here's another thing I can tell you that blew my mind. If there's going to be 1 billion people taking omega-3s by 2050, Zinzino really believes, and I believe this too now, I didn't at the beginning, they believe that they can have 100 million customers eventually, Zinzino, by 2050. And why do I believe that? Do you think it's possible out of 1 billion people, if we can prove that our product is 10x better than everybody else, with a protocol that's proven to work, that has more longevity and people sticking on the product than any other protocol out there, and I'll explain why in a minute, you think we can get 1 out of 10 people to be our customer? I believe so. Okay. And that's why I'm on this mission to help people get back into balance. Okay. So I'm done my first part of my presentation. We're done. What's the message to the guests? Go get tested. You don't know until you know, guys. Everyone that I've tested, because I've tested professional athletes, I've tested uh, doctors, naturopaths, homeopaths, chiropractors, you name it. They all think they're healthy until the blood don't lie and they share a real reality. Okay. So that's my done on my health and wellness conversation. Guys, you can never say you were not told. Take the test. It's better to prevent and know what's going on than wait. Okay. Now I'll talk about my business hat on. You guys ready for Nathan's business hat? Okay. This is where it took me about a year to kind of wrap my head around this, and this is what got me excited. You have a chance to start as a Zinzino partner for free. You don't have to pay anything if you don't want. Okay. But there's advantages of be getting a pack that gives you some advantage to start in the business. There is a basic partner kit at 319 pounds. There is that's euros, right? 319 euros. There is a advanced kit for 849 euros, and there's an ultimate partner kit at 1169 euros. And I know John is a similar number in pounds, probably a little bit less because the pound's worth a bit more. Okay. Now you can start anywhere you want, but if I can give you my advice, the reason why I started with the Ultimate Kit and why all of my personal partners started with the Ultimate Kit, if you're in the blood testing business, do you think you should have some blood tests? Okay. The Ultimate Partner Kit comes with 10 blood tests and a bunch of product. Okay. And I'll just tell you how I did it, guys. It's not that I'm a great speaker. I mean, I know I'm a good speaker, but I'm not the convincer. It was the blood test that did the convincing. I'll give you some real examples. My first actual partner is the owner of my gym. His name is Atif Kadiri. He owns a gym called AK Fitness Studio. It's in Toronto. It's a boutique gym. It's all CEOs and stuff trained there. Okay. It's pretty expensive. Okay. Went to go see him and I told him about the whole conversation. He's like, nah, I'm good. I'm healthy. I'm buff this stuff. I take omega 3s. I don't need this. Yeah. Give me your finger. Boom, stabbed him, did the blood work. Did the same thing with his wife. His wife is a pharmacist. Ironically, she's from Sweden originally, lives in Toronto now, by the way. They both came back. He was 16 to 1 ish, and she was 15 to 1. Reality check. They did some due diligence, like I gave you to look up with ChatGPT and did some research. And the gym signed up, and they now offer test based nutrition. You join the gym, they blood test you. It's part of their membership, guys. They start with seeing where you're at, and they offer test-based nutrition as a solution. Okay, pretty proud of him. He brought in over 220 customers at the gym. Okay, in Canadian dollars, he makes about $30,000 a year residually just from adding this protocol to his gym. Did I convince him? The test convinced him. My next sign up, some of you might have seen if you ever watch any of my Canadian calls, is Professor Karim Primji. Who is he? He's a friend of mine. He is one of the head professors at the Toronto Holistic School of Nutrition. I brought up the conversation. He's like, I take omegas, don't need this. I do believe in testing. So, anyways, I tested him. He failed the test. Reality check. Now, the entire curriculum has now shifted at the school. He actually talks about incorporating of polyphenols into the omega 3 for absorption and oxidation. And now he has brought on board over 70 nutritionists because of me using a blood test. So, you see the value of this? So, example, any UFC fans on the call? Well, the example we're about in the coming weeks, it was supposed to be last week, but we got pushed off. We're going to be testing George St. Pierre. So I don't know who that is. He's a Quebecer from Montreal, where I'm from. Okay. One of the most famous fighters ever. Guess what? He's probably failing the test, guys. Okay. Why? How can I bet that? 99% of all Canadians and Americans fail the test. So it's a reality conversation we've had. Okay. Let's bring this thing home, guys. Is this: what if you could start the business with an ultimate partner kit and you only have to put a deposit? The deposit of the money that they can actually give you a full refund. I'll show you how that works right now. Okay. Zinzino has something called a refund partner kit, and here's how it works. Do you think we could train you if you had a willingness to do this? Do you think we can train you to find 25 customers in a year? Okay. Now let's define customer. Each product is classified as a customer. So I'll give you an example. You take the balance wheel based on your body weight. So based on myself, I'm a pretty big guy. My wife is 6 foot tall. We take 3 bottles a month. Okay. So that's 3 customers. My wife and I take the Viva, 5 customers. We take the Xenobiotic. We take a bunch of stuff. You don't have to take as much as us, but we personally use 12 products a month. So we're 12 customers. I'm 50% of all the sales I had to do in the year, guys. Next customer is my mother. My mother lives in Montreal. She's 86. Love my mother. My mother takes 3 products a month. My sister is actually in town visiting me from Ottawa with her husband. Well, they take 4 products a month. My aunt and her husband take 4 products a month. There's my 25 sales in my whole career, guys. I signed up myself and like 3 or 4 family members in my first year. Well, Zinzino says in the 12th month, if you had 25 active subscribed customers, they give you a full refund on your ultimate kit. Is that pretty crazy? So I never seen a direct sales company ever saying, we're going to pay you not only to do what you're supposed to do, we're going to give you a full refund. Okay. So if you're remembering, want to know about the compensation plan, how we make money, I'm going to go through that now. Just remember your goal in Zinzino, it all revolves around 25 product sales. 25 product sales. Well, if you got on the Health Protocol Plus, isn't that 4 products? Well, do you think you can find 4, 5, 6 people in a year to get on the Health Protocol? That's over 25 customers. Okay. So let's see how this works. Okay. The monthly cost to keep your online store open, like you guys agree in my insurance office where I have to pay to keep the business operational. Okay. Well, I wish it was this cost. It's only 79 euros a month to keep your online store business active, which is your customer service, your web hosting, tech support, shipping, delivery. They give you a balance product every month, and every 4 months they send you a balance test. Okay. So very simple. If you have an example, if you had a balance oil, they add the cost of the balance test divided by 4 is the cost that brings it up to the 79 euros or whatever it is in pounds. Okay. But here's what I can tell you. We don't want you to ever pay this. Okay. And it's very simple. If you simply refer 4 to 5 products to Zinzino, you never pay the 79 euros. I've never paid the 79 euros. It's called Zinzino for free. Very simple. Do it in the same month you sign up. You never pay for it. Any customer that refers 4 customers gets their stuff for free. Okay. So is that pretty simple, guys? How many people you don't want to get all these protocols that are life impactful for zero? Just help some other people impact their lives with the product. Okay. Okay, let's finish this up. How do you make money? Well, Zinzino doesn't do any advertising, okay? Because think about this. If you go to a local store where they sell nutritional supplements, there's another 50 omega-3 products on the wall. Would you agree? Well, how do you know there's any difference? You don't know, okay? What's the better referral? Someone that's had an impactful result that you know, that can prove the results in their blood work, or your doctor or clinician that's involved with Zinzino that can prove the results in blood work and personal experience versus a TV commercial by some actor trying to promote something, okay? Zinzino shares 50% of all of its revenue back to partners that help refer business to them. Think about this. Anyone uses Netflix? You guys use Netflix in the UK? Anyone use that there, or Prime or stuff like that? Have you ever told a friend back in the day to use Netflix? Well, is the owner of Netflix giving you a referral commission every month? Think about that. Imagine back in the day, John, they told you refer 4 friends to Netflix, you never pay again. I'd be so in to do something like that. But they're greedy. They don't do it. Zinzino likes to share the wealth. Okay. So how do you make money? We do 2 things to make money. We just introduce people to the concept of getting tested, see where they're at. If they need our protocols, you get between 10 and 30% commission on all the referrals. That's pretty straightforward. Okay. But here's what gets really unique, guys. Look at the top team 100. That's super exciting. Okay. Because I have a bunch of people that have done it. I'm almost there myself, by the way. When you get 100 product referrals, they give you a 10,000 euro bonus. Craziness. I've never seen that in direct sales. Okay. And look at it, guys. The average person that has 100 products, not customers, product sales, he makes about 9,000 euros a month. 8,000 euros a month, plus the 10,000 euro bonus for gathering some customers. Okay. Look when you top team 200. You can go more than this by a lot, but 200 guys, look at this. They give you about an average of 18,000 euros a year residually, plus the $10,000 bonus, okay? And a vacation, all expense paid by the company. Last year's trip was to Bali. This year's trip, I'll be there. I know John probably going to be joining me there and some other of you guys. It's in the Tenerife, okay, the Canary Islands. And our ambassador trip this year is to Monte Carlo, okay? But here's a little tip for even for the promoters on the call, guys, okay? When you bring in a naturopath or homeopath or nutritionist, do you understand it's really easy for them to get to 200 product sales? Easy, easy. All those people that I bring in, guys, get to 200 customers in 60 days or less, okay? Because it's easy. That's their people are going to come and consult. The first thing they do is they test their biomarkers, whether any of the protocols are going to work by making sure the cell membrane is fixed before any protocol, okay? Example, I just brought on board in the United States 2 stem cell clinics. Why? Because if you fix the cell membranes, the stem cells work better. Okay. So here's the second way we make money. You can build a team. Okay. And I'll just explain that and I'll show this last piece, guys. Okay. Zinzino is a very simple model for those that want to build a team, and not everyone builds a team. Okay. But I've always believed in building multiple revenue streams and leverage. So example, my own insurance brokerage. For example, you can see behind me one of my brokers, guys. Well, I get a percentage of the sales she does. It's called leverage. Okay. So Zinzino's simple this. Do you think we could eventually teach you to get like 7 families to be a customer eventually? Well, there's your 25 customers. You think 2 people in 100 countries, they could use a supplemental income? Think about this. Right now, based on your finances, and everyone's different. You agree we're all different. Are you happy to retire at your standard of living you have now? If the answer is no, maybe you should stack a little bit more. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. And I think that's what's powerful, because even if you made 200 grand a year, 300 grand a year, if it's not residual, you have no freedom associated with that. Okay. So the whole model is build a team of people that get handfuls of customers. And Zinzino will track all the customers in your organization globally and pay you up to 15% commission on all the customers within your organization. So as an example, thanks to some great leaders that are on this call, myself and us teaming up, in about the short period of time I've been doing this, we've brought in over 6,000 customers. Well, every single month I get 15% on the 6,000 customers that pay their bill every month, which is powerful. Okay. The last thing is we have an upfront bonus that you can get out of the gate to make some money quickly. I will go through this very quickly. We have a training this Saturday that goes through this much more in detail, or we can get on a call individually and explain this to you, but just give you the basics here. Okay. Here's how it works. Step one, we're going to help you refer 4 product sales. Who could those first 4 product sales be? You. Okay. Doesn't have to be you, but that's what I did. Okay. You do that in your first 30 days, and Zinzino pays you 100 euros, and your monthly overhead for your business is free. Okay. Pretty simple step one. Step two, do you think you can get 10 people to get on a Zoom call that we can present for you? Okay. We do the heavy lifting. Think about the guests. Can you do what the person who brought you on the call is doing? Sit there and say nothing. Let Nathan or John or Artie or one of us talk to them for you. Okay. Well, if I talk to 10 of your people, I'm going to get 3 or 4 customers for sure. I'm going to find 1 or 2 people that like the concept of building a residual income in the test-based nutrition preventative health space. If we help you set up 2 business partners in this example, they each buy an ultimate kit, right? So we want them to have blood tests to go blood test because we're in the blood testing business. Okay. We set up 2 people in your first 60 days. Oops. Go on here. Zinzino pays you an extra 400 euros for doing that. Pretty simple. Okay. The third step of the fast start is pretty simple. Help your 2 people do the same thing. Okay. You do that within your first 90 days to make 1,200 more euros for doing that. And the last part of the fast start is we're going to help you to go from 4 product sales up to 10 product sales. And if you add all this stuff up, it comes up to 2,500 euros approximately. Is that pretty cool, guys? Right? You more than double your starting fee, get all your products for free from just getting out of the gate. Now, I'm going to show off the other ways, guys. I did this in my first 7 days. Okay, so not that difficult. I know I'm showing off, but I did it very quickly. But you can do it if you're willing to put people in front of us. Remember what you got to do? Introduce people to us that either want to be healthier or they want to make their bank accounts healthier. One of the two. Okay? Here's the last 2 slides. This is the slide that really made me get excited. Okay? This is the average earnings based on subscribed customers and balance in your organization. Now, disclaimer, if you sign up, will you be rich? No. Okay. If you sign up, you might be rich in health. That I'm pretty very, very confident on. But will you be rich financially? Well, that really depends on the effort you put in. Does that make sense with you guys? You could buy a kit and do nothing and make nothing. I'm just being very transparent. It's like you join the gym, you could still be fat. Okay. It really depends on what you do. Okay. Well, here's what blew my mind. Look at this for a second, guys. If you get to executive, which is not that many customers in your team, the average executive makes about 900 euros a month. Guys, I have dozens and dozens of executives in my team. Okay. Very doable. I'll give you one last level. Let's stop at Diamond. Look at Diamond, guys. What's the average earnings at Diamond? Okay. 4,000 euros. Well, would an extra 50,000 euros coming in approximately residually be life changing to most people? Yes or no? That's crazy. Well, let me tell you, do you think it's possible? Do you think you could build a small team in conjunction with us of 60 people eventually? 6-0 eventually. Not tomorrow, eventually. 60 people that got 25 product sales, that makes you diamond. That gives you an average of 48,000 euros a year. Is that powerful, guys? That's crazy. It's crazy, guys. I've never seen something like that before. Okay. John knows in our old business, if you wanted to make 4,000 euros a month in our old company, you probably need 15,000 people in your team to make $50,000 a year, and you need 60 here. Okay. Again, I'm going to show off. We brought in 60 people last month. Okay. So I'm just saying something that can be done as a collective effort. But here's the last slide I'm going to stop with. Okay. Is when you get to the higher ranks, and listen, most people are never going to get there, but let's be truthful. If you're a player on this call, you got a big ego and you're like, let me talk. I don't know about this Nathan, the punk on the call. Well, I want to talk to you, Mr. Ego, because we're looking for people that have big egos like me. Okay. If you're able to hit president and above, Zinzino is willing to give you shares in the publicly traded company on the NASDAQ. If you're wondering, by the way, the company's shares have grown by 450% over the last 5 years, 13 consecutive years of paid a dividend. I got my dividend check in March. Thank you, Zinzino, for my dividend check. Okay. They've grown by 51% just last year. This year, we're on track. By the way, we finished off last year at 363 million in sales. We're breaking 500 million this year. 500 million. And I'm on the investors calls. They told shareholders that in the next 45 months, they're going to break $1 billion. Think about this. If they break $1 billion, guys, their share revenue share 50% of the revenue back in the pay plan. So anyone willing to share 500 million with me in the pay plan, I'm willing to share. I'm not greedy. Okay. And then anyone would like to earn equity in that $1 billion growth in the share value where the company is going, and then earn a dividend. That's where there's massive long-term up play. And why I told you why I'm involved is I'm going to work hard. I'm always going to get to the highest level. That's just me. I'm not trying to be cocky. I will. But now there's an equity play. I'm willing to put my effort into something that I get to own, unlike other companies where I built something where I don't know anything. Here's the last slide and we're done. Okay. Here we are today. We're about 1 million customers. That's where we're at right now. Okay. They predict by 2050, I said it earlier, that we're going to have 100 million customers. Now that's a big number, right? Let's even say they have 10 million customers. Easily they're going to 10x. Okay. Right now, if you look at the global testing pool, right? We said there are about 1.8 million people tested. It's mostly in the Baltic and Scandinavian countries. And it's even in those markets, guys, even my friends in Sweden, they've only tested like 1.5% of the population. Well, Zinzino's going to test another 5 to 10 million people in the coming years. The question is, are you the one benefiting from it or not? Okay. Because if I tested 100 of your family members, 80% are becoming customers. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Okay. Another thing, John, I think a lot of people don't realize, if anyone's ever done direct sales before, why I've never been in a product-based company before, it's because I always felt it was hard to build a residual income because the attrition was too high. People would get on a supplement, they would get excited. 2 months later, they would stop buying it. Okay. Not here, guys. You know that Zinzino's average, so industry wide in the supplement industry, guys, in case you didn't know, the average retention rate is 2.5 months. That's the industry average. Okay. Zinzino is 19 months. It's 8 to 9 times higher retention over any other company in the market. And why? Because we can prove it works. We can prove it works. And also, it forces someone to have adherence. Think about it. You get tested, fail the test, take the protocol. They're waiting for month 4 to see if it's real. They take the test again. It gives the time for the protocol to actually work. If you get them past the first 4 months and get the second blood test, guys, all of my customers that have done that are still customers 15 months later. I've had a 100% retention rate on anyone that I got through the initial process. Okay. So here's my 2 cents before I pass the call back to John. 21-year-old company, just getting started, publicly traded on the NASDAQ, willing to share equity and ownership and shares with its players that help build the business, a seat at the table of equity. The company will shift globally to over 250 countries in the next 10 years. The day and age of you taking any supplements without doing biomarkers will be happening. People will think you're nuts for ever having taken supplements without doing biomarker testing and proving it works. People are becoming more knowledgeable. Not going to take just any fluff that anyone sees on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or all that stuff. They want to see validity. And that's why at Zinzino, 36% of all of our partners are medical professionals because we're documented. So my presentation's done, guys, from the bottom of my heart. Get tested for you, not for me, okay? And for your family. And if you're someone that's an entrepreneur that wants to take advantage of, guys, what's happening here, I already know without a question of a doubt in my organization, which John and some of you guys are part of, and I know a lot of you are, we're going to be bringing in 1 million customers. I'm going to say that publicly. My goal is for us to bring in 1 million customers. Now, why do I say that? My old business, I had 400,000 customers. Okay. And this is a bigger mission that I think is a bigger play and a bigger opportunity on a bigger scale. So it's my honor to have spent some time with you guys, and hopefully I didn't speak too quickly and the Canadian cockiness. I apologize if that came across that way. I thank you for the time and the honor to present to the team, John, and I'm very excited to be teaming up with all of you as we bring this business to the march to 1 billion, to 2, to 3, to 5, to 10, and to 100 million long term. I'll pass the call back to you, John.